we have several students who take our programs and say, oh, I never knew I liked science, or something along those lines. Because I think, like you're saying, some of our exposure to science lessons or scientists or whatever it might be, I think it's sometimes hard for some students to connect with that. So I feel that some environmental topics help kids kind of, you almost like hook the kids, and then they realize like, oh, I do like science and STEM, and I can see myself moving forward in these types of roles. So I think the environment is a pathway to STEM, and STEM is a pathway to exposing kids to or giving them an opportunity to develop new passions, but also see a career path in STEM. And then a lot of the STEM fields are, I feel, those students are going to be what drives solutions to some of our issues that we're having.
The mission for Change is Simple is to instill environmental and social responsibility in children through experiential learning that inspires action for a healthier planet and community.
My background is environmental science, and I also have several friends and my brother-in-law who is an elementary school teacher. And I remember him being at our big family dinners. My husband's family is Italian, and we would always gather on Sundays, and he would often, understandably, complain about how little science he was able to deliver in his classroom as far as the time constraints in the day, but also the fact that he was a generalist as an elementary school teacher and didn't feel that he had the expertise to teach science or any sort of STEM in his classroom. So he, with that, hearing that week after week, and also seeing, I guess, I was working in the environmental field, and I was a little bit surprised at how people were living or not living in the way that I would assumed folks would in the environmental field, just their values and their choices. And I started to think, what's the disconnect for even folks who are in the environmental field as far as environmental values and sustainability and lifestyle choices. So it all started with me just talking to my brother-in-law's class, his fourth grade students. And then my husband is also, who's the co-founder of Change is Simple, is also very creative. And we started to create a few lessons, and we tested them out, having never taught like that to students. I mean, we've worked with kids before, but our first lesson was to 70 fourth graders, which was very nerve-wracking. So it all started in one school for 70 kids. And now we reach over 8,000 a year with our program. And those kids see us year over year, and then multiple times throughout each school year.
Lauren Belmonte, the co-founder and executive director of Change is Simple, brought her passion for climate education to schools in Massachusetts.
The education that we provide gives students the opportunity to learn about their world. I mean, I know that's a general statement, but learning about their world and how they fit into it, because, it's the world that we live in, with Amazon and iPhones and Xboxes and all these things that the kids are exposed to. We're not trying to change any of that. And we're trying to help kids fit into this, complex 21st century world that we're living in, and help them understand that even if they live in the inner city or out in the suburbs or in a rural area, they can connect to the natural world. And really, Change is Simple takes environmental education and really flips it upside down in a way where we make it very kid focused and lifestyle based. So yes, we do talk about ecosystems and species and habitats and animals and all of that. We really start though with the kids' lives and where they intersect with that. So, we talk about where their water comes from or where their food comes from and how important that is. And all it takes to get those things to us, the people, the resources, the carbon emissions, the health effects of, what happens with our food before it gets to us, what happens with our water, how we get our electricity, more than that. But, we're trying to help kids understand the systems that make up our world and how they can make small changes, hence our name, Change is Simple, and we take one topic at a time so that we're not overwhelming the kids, because as I'm sure you understand, and most people do, we're bombarded with information and bad news and issues and challenges. But we are very mindful and purposeful in our work and our education to make it really digestible and approachable and hopeful for our kids, for our students. Because I think just like us, when you're presented with a problem, you want to find a solution. You don't want to be discouraged about it. So we're very honest with our students, but we also show them, you can have an impact right now, even as a second grader, as a fifth grader, you can make change right now. And here are some career paths that, you can find that would really help the issues that we're facing.
The nonprofit organization teaches sustainability in a way that lights up children's curiosity as they develop their worldview.
It's incredible to see over the past 12 years what, so when we talk to schools about sustainability, for example, environmental sustainability, it wasn't really a term that schools had on their radar. And it was hard for us to explain what it is that we do. But so much progress has been made. And I don't mean from us, I just mean, in the media, and people are talking about it more. It's becoming more of a priority. And so it's been really encouraging to see schools reaching out and wanting this kind of education. And I think the fact that it's like we provide STEM education, but through the lens of sustainability, which has been, now it's a lot easier to explain that than it was, 12 years ago.
Lauren takes the lead when it comes to fundraising and is able to overcome the main challenge that comes with organizing new partnering opportunities.
Our biggest challenge is funding. Schools really want this education, and the teachers are, because really the classroom teachers are our partners in this. They allow us to come into their classroom, they welcome us in, and they bring us back each year, which is incredible. But there's not a lot of funding for this type of programming because we are outside the school. So we're always welcomed in the school, but they're very challenged with getting the resources to bring us in. So we have a very heavy fundraising model in our nonprofit. So we fund, up to 75% of the cost of the whole program for the schools because we want it to be feasible for the schools, which is also why we started. We do this in the school during the school day so that it's accessible to all the kids, so that it's not selective or elective, and that we're reaching everybody. I really hope that Change is Simple continues to grow and be able to reach more students. I think, when we started, I'm not sure I would have believed you that we would be working with 8,000 kids a year. However, in the scheme of our state and our country, that's not enough kids. So we hope that we can spread that much, much further. And we feel that we could grow locally more, certainly, but ultimately our how we feel that we're going to reach a lot more kids is to train teachers, provide professional development for more classroom teachers to have the confidence and resources to teach, climate ed and sustainability in their classrooms so that we can reach more teachers to reach exponentially more students.
Change is Simple ultimately provides the knowledge and tools to ignite the next generation to join the fight against climate change.
Even if we could impact or reach one kid, we've been successful. So I feel so grateful that it's been much more than that. And although I do have a science background and a lot of the folks on our team do, our main mission is more to instill those social and environmental values. Of course, we are always thrilled when we can inspire the next scientist or STEM, STEM professional. But beyond that, or in addition to that, we want our students, no matter what they might grow up to become, to be leaders in their community, to be examples, for the folks in their community and their families and their, just in their life to first understand the importance of our natural world and our reliance on it, and then how powerful they can be, within that world. So really empowering them to understand their impacts and that they have the power to have a positive impact in their community and on the planet.